It's Tuesday, the 1st of January 2019. Happy New Year's, everybody. A chance for us all to be positive and look to the year ahead with a new... who am I kidding? We've already had our first bombshell of the year, and it's only 9:30 in the morning here in the UK. When I was streaming last night, roughly 2 a.m, news started to emerge that Activision Blizzard had fired its C.F.O, Chief Finance Officer. But just like those pesky Transformers once again, there appears to be more here than meets the eye. Different year, same shit. Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. How you doing? Now, today is going to start off with me reading a couple of filings that have been made against Blizzard CFO Spencer Newman by the company itself. All articles which I relate to today, all linked in the description box down below. Thoroughly recommend you check them all out. This one is really interesting, folks. You're going to enjoy this a fair bit. But we're going to start off by reading something out. This is a filing made by Activision Blizzard. On December 31st, 2018, Activision Blizzard Inc., the company, notified Spencer Newman, the company's current chief financial officer, that the company intends to terminate Mr. Newman's employment for cause unrelated to the company's financial reporting or disclosure controls and procedures. Mr. Newman has been placed on paid leave of absence from the company pending an opportunity for him to demonstrate why cause does not exist to terminate his employment or why termination of his employment is not otherwise justified. Is Spencer Newman going to do that? No. Why? As I said in the introduction, there is more here than meets the eye. So first things first, who is Spencer Newman? Well, let's go directly to the source here. This is Activision Blizzard's own website about the man himself. Chief Financial Officer of Activision Blizzard, Spencer Newman. Spencer Newman has served as our Chief Financial Officer since May 2017. So this guy has been at the company for little over 18 months and he's gone. So is this a cowboy? Is this a fly-by-night guy? Is this a guy that doesn't settle at a company? Well, let's just read on. Prior to joining the company, Mr. Newman held a number of positions of increasing responsibility at the Walt Disney Company. All right, okay. Most recently serving as the Chief Financial Officer and Executive Vice President of Global Guest Experience of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts from 2012 until May 2017 when he took up the role at Activision Blizzard. It then goes on to say that he initially joined the Disney Company in 1992 and has held various positions throughout the company, elevating himself as he goes. He's still a young man. He's still 48 years of age. But he spent 20 years at the Walt Disney Company in some form or another. So this is a guy who doesn't take his work lightly. This is a guy who is clearly reliable and stable within their employment. So why, again, was he sacked after just 18 months of being at Activision Blizzard, and according to them themselves, that he was sacked for unrelated to the company's financial reportings? Well, the simple fact is, Blizzard seemed to have sacked him to try and save some kind of face, because Spencer Newman, he's out of here. He was gone anyway. He was going to leave the company. This is from Reuters. Again, all these linked in the description box down below. Netflix Inc. is expected to announce in the next few days that it has poached media finance veteran Spencer Newman from Activision Blizzard to be its chief financial officer, a source familiar with matters told Reuters. So it looks like behind the scenes, Spencer Newman had been like, screw this, I'm out. This role at Netflix had come up. It seems to be way more appealing to him by the looks of it. And after being at Walt Disney for 20 years and being stable, looks like he could only stomach about 18 months at Activision Blizzard before he looked for an opportunity to leave, and seems to have picked one up here by jumping ship to Netflix. Earlier on Monday, Activision Blizzard said in a regulatory filing that it intended to fire Newman for an unspecified reason. This is the filing, and this will be linked in the description box down below. But again, there's also a little bit more to this story which might shock you a wee bit. Shock you purely because of the numbers being bandied around here. This is from CNBC's website, again, in the description box down below. And this talks about Activision Blizzard shares moved down 1% in after-hours trading on Monday after the company said that it informed the chief financial officer, Spencer Newman, that it plans to fire him. For now, he's been placed on a paid leave of absence. This is the current after-hours trading. It's down 1.26% so far. Going to be interesting to see how that opens up with news that he's essentially been poached by Netflix. It has, down at the bottom though, Newman, 48, received $9.47 million in total compensation in Activision Blizzard's most recent fiscal year, a filing said. Now that's fiscal year. That's not quarterly earnings or anything like that. Fiscal year. So this filing here is actually June? When is this? June of last year? There you go, 26th of June, 2018. So in just over a year at the company, and we don't know from there onwards, the guy netted himself nearly $10 million in earnings, salary, bonuses, whatever. An obscene amount of money. Absolutely obscene. Not saying that he doesn't deserve it. Not saying that he doesn't, doesn't do the work necessary to get that sort of wage. But when you compare that money to, let's say, the budget of a video game, and I discussed this in a stream last night, $9.5 million is more money than Shenmue 3 raised in its crowdfunding campaigns prior to it being made. Horizon Zero Dawn, a game which was heralded as a great success a couple of years back, had a budget of $40 million. That in itself is a quarter of it, 25%. The Witcher 3, which is, 4.5 years old now? I think, yeah. That had a budget of $50 million. This being 20%. And the reason why I'm sort of equating it to that is you just have to look at what's been happening recently with Activision Blizzard. You just have to look at the disaster that was BlizzCon in terms of no new IPs, complete shift in focus away from their core audience, people not happy with their products at all, World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth in the doldrums, Diablo, sorry folks, recently of course Heroes of the Storm has been hung out to dry now. They've essentially cast that adrift. Community not happy with Overwatch and the balancing of it, all these types of things. People just walking away with 10 million wages. And goodness knows how much he took this year between taking that and leaving the company. Considering, remember, he is on paid absence. It's absolutely crazy when you think about the money which could be invested into the actual products. And I'm not saying that money isn't being invested into their products, but when was the last time Diablo 3 had a proper update, a proper expansion? It hasn't for donkey's years. It's been out since 2012, and it's had one major expansion in 6 years. You can see why they feel as if they as well are hung out to dry. Heroes of the Storm, as I've said, Overwatch just not seemingly developing. Just hasn't changed since its release. And World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth being a shell of a game. Just being a complete dubbed-down version of elements which have been plucked from Legion and just plonked into a video game. No innovation, no ingenuity, none of that whatsoever. So this looks like it's another, I wouldn't say cost-cutting exercise at all, but you just see if he can take that much money in a year, somebody like that moving on. Maybe he was just like, this company ain't going anywhere. With all these cost cuttings, cost cuttings, easy for me to say. Maybe he just didn't see any fulfillment within his role, and therefore was quite happy to look elsewhere, to places like Netflix, who I believe themselves are in serious debt. So, his job here ain't going to be easy by the looks of it. I mean, it seems to be positioned nicely for him geographically, but my goodness me. Yeah, it looks like Blizzard are firing him before it's just simply announced that he's leaving and moving to another company which he appears to have been speaking to and all had arranged, and he's been poached, he's been hunted or whatever, but he's gone. Great start to the year for Activision Blizzard, losing their C.F.O, Chief Financial Officer, right at the death of the year. Right on the final day of Q4. Huh. Go figure. So there we go. Let me know what your thoughts and feelings are in the comment section down below. And as I mentioned, everything that I've discussed, every article linked in the description box as well. I thoroughly recommend that you go check out these articles. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do get a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links there in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.